Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
They Chose to Breed by EllyandIphy. Have you ever seen a completely dysfunctional couple with a child and wonder, why the hell did they ever choose to breed? Every neighborhood has that one couple. Jay and Nikki Culver were the sort of husband and wife who delighted in each other's misery. If Jay failed in any sort of way, Nikki would be there to emasculate him as loudly and publicly as possible. Of course, Jay would retaliate the ugly way by questioning her womanhood, mocking her lack of refinement and household skills. To put it simply, it seemed they'd end up murdering each other before ever getting the opportunity to procreate. All of this changed one torrid summer afternoon, when I answered a knock at the door. To a great deal of surprise and confusion, found Nikki Culver sweating profusely at my doorstep. "Whew, it sure is hot out," Nikki exclaimed, placing a pink card in my hand. "Sorry to give this to you on such a short notice, Audrey." I read the neat cursive on the front. Save the date. August 12th, 2016. Baby announcement party. "Are you sure this is right?" I asked. "This says the party is today." Nikki wiped away the tendrils of sweaty blonde hair plastered to her forehead, flashing me a warm smile. "Yeah, like I said, short notice. We've been just so busy ever since I found out I was pregnant." I muttered. "Didn't know you two were expecting." "Well, we figured a party would be a great opportunity to get to know our neighbors a little better," she said with a sigh. "But I don't think anyone else is coming. Think you might make an appearance?" I contemplated for a second, then shrugged. "Sure," I said, accompanied by an instantaneous pang of regret. "I suppose I could make an appearance." She leaned in for a surprise hug. "Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. We'll start things up in about an hour or so, okay? See you there, neighbor." Before stopping by the party, I drove to the pet store to grab some food for my cat. In the doggy chew toy aisle, I noticed dozens of playthings scattered across the shelves that could easily pass for baby gifts. I settled on a fuzzy green octopus that squeaked whenever you squeezed its bulbous head. After the cashier rung me up, I went back to my house to store away the cat food, then headed over to the Culver residence with my toy octopus. Questions began flooding my mind on the walk over. Mainly, what purpose did a baby announcement party serve? Wouldn't it have made more sense to just throw a party and inform everybody there? More importantly, why was this obvious train wreck of a woman suddenly being so nice to me? Perhaps it might have been an ill-conceived ruse to receive gifts or a robbery attempt? I considered this as I stepped through their debris-covered lawn, peeking into my purse to make sure I had pepper spray. Check. And my Swiss Army switchblade. Check. In case they were up to anything nefarious. With everything accounted for, I walked up to their door and pressed the cracked plastic bell. For a while, I just stood there, waiting as a pair of muffled voices conversed behind the door. Sweat trickled down my sunburnt forehead. It was one of those oppressively hot afternoons. Soon the door creaked open. A voice, similar to Jay's, but with a clearer inflection, proceeded to speak. "Audrey, well, you're here a tad early, but that's okay. Please step inside. Just make sure to take your shoes off at the door." I paused for a moment, thinking back on the time I'd lived near the Culvers. All those years of loud domestic squabbles, warning from the Homeowners Association, weird sexual overtones from both, and the general cloud of toxicity that always seemed to hang over the place. Nothing, absolutely nothing in a million lifetimes could have braced me for the revelation that Jay and Nikki Culver were a take off your shoes at the door kind of couple. And nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. "Well, neighbor," said Jay, opening the door a bit wider, "welcome to our humble abode." A chill shot through my body when I stepped inside. Everything was perfect, from the ornate wainscoting down to the immaculately polished hardwood floors. The scent of orange pledge and oatmeal cookies wafted through the air. Perhaps the most shocking of all was the hosts themselves. They looked like they'd been transported from another time. Jay with his pomade slicked back, black hair and white dress shirt. Nikki with her primrose apron and June Cleaver hairstyle. Jay traded places with Nikki in the kitchen. Following a warm greeting, I handed her the squeaky toy octopus. "Figured a baby might like this." "Oh, that's so very kind of you," Nikki said, placing the octopus on the coffee table. "Please take off your shoes and grab a spot on the couch, okay, sweetie?" I slipped out of my shoes and placed them on the rack by the door, taking a spot at the end of the red leather couch. I looked up at Nikki, a tableau of suburban perfection. Could this really be the same woman who used to mock the disabled boy down the street? Who once threatened to chop her husband's penis off in front of the whole neighborhood? Nikki chuckled. I know, she said, a hint of southern drawl in her voice. "We haven't always been the best neighbors, but we're making strides, though." I shook my head. No, really, I didn't mean to give off that impression. I just can't stay much longer is all." Nikki beamed a cute, crooked smile. "Well, shucks. At least have Jay pour you a glass of brandy." "Well, if you insist." "One brandy coming right up," Jay shouted from the kitchen. A moment later, he emerged into the living room with two gorgeous crystal glasses of liquor. "We bought these during our trip to Prague last month. The Parisian brandy was a gift from a client." Prague? Paris? Who the crap were these people? I watched Jay take a sip of brandy. Figuring it might elevate the mood, I shrugged and did the same. Soon the booze had me loosened up enough to where I found myself chatting freely with my neighbors. Once the feeling in the room had lifted, I felt bad for having misjudged them all those years. Perhaps they were always great people deep down, who needed some sort of guiding light of self-realization and found it. Eventually, Jay got up to pour us some more brandy, while Nikki was more than happy to abstain for the baby in her belly. Before I knew it, we were all laughing together like lifelong friends. Feeling a bit tipsy, I rose to my feet. "Ladies' room?" "It's the second door on the left," Nikki said, momentarily losing her southern drawl. It seemed like she'd been suppressing her country twang for a new, more distinguished-sounding accent. I grabbed my purse and staggered down the hallway towards the impeccably white bathroom. As I closed the door behind me and washed my face in the sink, I couldn't help but reflect on how satisfying the day had ended up being, despite all the strangeness. I heard something sputter through the vents as I turned off the water. Psst! At first I ignored the sound, drying off my face with one of their initial bath towels. Then again, "Psst! Neighbor lady!" I recognized that voice. Glancing up at the air vent above the toilet, I caught the gaze of a familiar pair of eyes. My heart sank into my chest. I gasped, "Jay?" "Shh!" not so loud, woman, he whispered. Them imposters took over our house. You gotta help me. Imposters? I asked, perhaps a bit louder than I should have. I said not so loud, bitch, he hissed. Look, they locked us up. I managed to break out, but Nikki's dead. They turned into beasts and ate her right in front of me. I got stuck trying to claw my way out of here. A pair of footsteps came down the hall. What should I do? I whispered. How should I know? He hissed back. Just kill him. I heard a knock at the door, followed by a female voice. Everything okay in there? Yes, Nikki, everything's fine. For an instant, I just froze there, trying to discern bits of truth out of every bizarre, surreal occurrence that day. But then I looked up at Jay's, the real-life, non-imposter Jay's eyes, remembering all those instances of disrupted peace, 911 calls, gross remarks. There seemed to be a spark behind his gaze, however objectionable it might have been. And in that moment, I knew he was telling me the horrible truth. Without a means for escape in that windowless bathroom, I realized there would only be one way out of there. I pulled the pepper spray out of my purse, holding it outward as I slowly opened the bathroom door. Imposter Jay and Nikki stood back from the door, exchanging confused looks as I took a nervous step forward. He's stuck in the air vent, I said, stepping closer with the mace. You are both very gracious hosts tonight, so I won't tell anyone. Now let me leave, please. You freaking idiot! Jay screamed. The lookalikes exchanged a glance, then nodded to one another. Okay, you can go, Imposter Nikki said, and thanks for coming over tonight. It's nice to get out and meet new people. We hope you'll meet our baby one day. I didn't stick around long enough to see what happened to the real Jay. All I heard was the sound of a ceiling being ripped apart, followed by a blood-curdling cry. Even as I exited their house, muffling the screams from within as I closed the front door behind me, I still had a hard time processing the present. That this wasn't somehow part of some horrid delirium. I never went back for my shoes. The neighborhood was a lot quieter after that. Assuming the house had been abandoned, no one really bothered with it afterwards. Even the police officers who eventually checked it out were stumped as to the whereabouts of its inhabitants. And no one ever heard from the Culvers again, with one small exception. Every so often, when it's late at night and the cicadas have stopped chirping, I'll hear a baby's laughter outside my bedroom window, accompanied with the familiar squeak squeak of a chew toy. So quoth this raven. My dears, I have 3 collaborations coming up. One with other narrators doing their stories they choose. I have one very interesting one. Something's going on with the No Sleep mods. And I have a new radio drama in the works. So, there's that to look forward to. I hope you enjoy them. I will certainly enjoy doing them. And thank you so much for coming. And thank you to my Patreon supporters, Ermin Case, Darren and Jennifer, and Laura. If you like this, please hit the little button to let me know. If you didn't, hit the little button to let me know. Leave a comment. I'm always glad to talk with you, my darlings. I'm open to suggestions and criticisms, critiques. If you have not subscribed, please do so and ring the little bell so you know when to come up and see me. And I will talk to you next time, my darlings. Farewell.